In 1952, your Nan did not own a single plastic bottle of chemical cleaner. Her entire cleaning arsenal cost less than 2 shillings. A bag of soda crystals, a packet of bicarbonate of soda, a bottle of malt vinegar, and a lemon. That was it. And here is the part nobody at Procter & Gamble wants you to hear. Scientists at Cambridge tested her methods in 2019 and found her vinegar solution killed more bacteria than half the antibacterial sprays at Tesco today. Number 14 on this list was used by the royal household, and still is. Number 3 actually cleans grease better than anything invented since. These were not old wives' tales. They were proper chemistry that worked. The cleaning industry spent 50 years convincing us we needed 17 different products under the sink. Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because your weekly shop is about to get a lot smaller. Let us count down from number 25. Number 25, cold tea for wooden floorboards. Every Friday morning, your Nan would brew a strong pot of tea, drink her cuppa, then save the leaves and the leftover liquid in a chipped enamel jug. By Saturday, when the kitchen lino had been mopped and the front room rug rolled back, that cold tea came out for the floorboards. She would dip a soft cloth in the brew, wring it nearly dry, and wipe along the grain of the wood. The tannins in the tea fed the timber, replacing oils that age and dry air stripped away, leaving floors with a warm, deep glow that no spray polish ever achieved. A penny's worth of leaves did the whole hallway. Modern timber floor cleaners cost 6 quid a bottle and contain silicone that builds up over time, dulling the wood. Your Nan's cold tea did the opposite. It nourished the grain every single week. Number 24, newspaper and vinegar for windows. Forget the blue spray and microfiber cloth. Your Nan reached for yesterday's Daily Mirror and a bowl of warm water with a glug of malt vinegar. She would scrunch the paper into a tight ball, dip it in the solution, and wipe the windows in firm circular motions, then buff them dry with a second sheet. The dense fibers of newsprint did not leave lint behind like rags or kitchen roll. The vinegar cut grease from cooking and coal smoke, while the carbon black in the printing ink actually polished the glass to a hard shine. Window cleaners across the Midlands used this exact method into the 1980s. A whole week's worth of newspapers, free with the chip wrappings, did every window in the house. Modern glass sprays leave a film that attracts more dust. The newspaper method does not. Number 23, bread for picking up broken glass. When a tumbler shattered on the lino, your Nan did not panic or reach for the hoover and ruin the bag. She tore off a thick slice of stale white bread, mother's pride preferably, and pressed it firmly over the floor where the glass had landed. The soft crumb absorbed every tiny shard, even the splinters you could not see with the naked eye. She would walk across the kitchen with that piece of bread, pressing and lifting, until every speck was captured. Then the whole lot went straight in the bin, glass and all, safely contained. A child could walk barefoot across that floor 10 minutes later with no risk at all. Modern hoovers actually scatter fine glass dust through the carpet and the air. The stale loaf method was safer than anything in your cupboard today. Number 22. Salt for red wine on the carpet. When a glass tipped over at the Christmas drinks party, your Nan was at the sideboard within seconds with the table salt cellar. She poured a thick mountain of salt directly onto the stain while it was still wet, completely covering the red patch. The salt drew the wine up out of the carpet fibers through capillary action, turning pale pink as it absorbed the liquid. She would leave it overnight, then hoover up a perfectly dry crust of pink salt the next morning, revealing carpet that looked untouched. A box of Saxa cost about 6 pence in 1958. Modern wine remover sprays cost £8 a bottle, and contain hydrogen peroxide, which can bleach the carpet itself. Your nan's salt method worked on freshly spilt wine within a minute. The window of effectiveness was small, but the result was nothing short of miraculous. Number 21. Onion for the grill pan. That blackened, crusted grill pan that has not seen a proper clean since you moved in. Your nan had a trick that took 2 minutes. After grilling chops or sausages, while the pan was still hot, she would slice an onion in half and rub the cut side firmly across the grill rack. The natural enzymes in the onion, combined with the sugars and the heat, dissolved baked-on fat and char like nothing else. She would then wipe it clean with kitchen paper, and the grill came up gleaming. The smell of onion would fade by morning, leaving no residue and no chemical taste in the next meal. A single onion cost a halfpenny. We now spend £4 on Mr. Muscle Oven Cleaner, which requires gloves, ventilation, and 20 minutes of soaking. The humble onion did it in 2. Number 20. Soda crystals down the sink. Every Sunday night, before bed, your nan poured a generous handful of soda crystals down the kitchen sink, then poured a kettle full of boiling water. The crystals dissolved on contact with the heat, surged down the pipes, and swept away every speck of grease that had built up during the week. The pipes ran clear all the way through to Friday. No Mr. Muscle, no Drano, no plumber's bill. A £2 bag of soda crystals cost about 9p in 1965 and lasted 6 months. Here is the chemistry. Soda crystals are sodium carbonate, which forms an alkaline solution that saponifies fats. That means it literally turns grease into soap, which then washes away. Modern drain cleaners are caustic, expensive, and damage the rubber seals in your pipes. Soda crystals do the same job without the corrosion. Every plumber I have ever spoken to still recommends this method privately. Number 19. Brown paper and vinegar for grease stains. When a roast splattered fat across the kitchen wall, or someone leaned against the cooker with a clean jumper, your nan had brown parcel paper at the ready in the kitchen drawer. She would soak a sheet in warm white vinegar, lay it directly over the grease mark on the wall or fabric, and press it firmly with a warm iron. The paper absorbed the grease as it melted, drawing it up and out of the surface. Sometimes 3 sheets were needed, each progressively cleaner than the last. The vinegar cut through what the paper could not absorb, leaving no shadow behind. A roll of brown paper from the post office cost 2p. Modern grease removers do not work on dried-in stains the way this method does. The combination of heat, vinegar, and the absorbent fiber of brown paper actually pulled grease back out of plaster and wallpaper. Number 18. Bicarbonate of soda for the oven. Your nan never touched a chemical oven cleaner in her life, yet her oven was spotless. The secret was an overnight paste. Half a cup of bicarbonate of soda mixed with just enough water to form a thick spread like wallpaper paste. She would smear it generously over every greasy surface inside the oven, around the door, on the racks, leave it overnight, and wipe clean with a damp cloth the next morning. The bicarb formed a gentle abrasive that lifted carbonized grease without scratching enamel. A spritz of white vinegar over any stubborn patches caused a fizzing reaction that broke down the last clinging bits. No gloves, no ventilation, no chemical smell that lingered for days. A box of bicarbonate of soda cost 4p in 1955, the whole oven cleaned for less than the price of a stamp. First pattern break. Here is where things get interesting. Number 17. Lemon for lime scale. Living in a hard water area meant your kettle was crusted white inside within weeks. Your nan did not buy Kill Rock or any of the Descaling sachets. She cut a lemon in half, dropped both halves into the kettle, filled it with water, and brought it to the boil. The citric acid dissolved the calcium carbonate deposits, leaving the kettle interior gleaming. She would do the taps the same way, rubbing the cut lemon directly over chrome until the lime scale rinsed off under running water. Citric acid is the active ingredient in most modern descaling products, just diluted and packaged into single-use sachets that cost 90 pence each. A lemon cost a penny at the greengrocer, and it cleaned the kettle and all the taps in one go. The kitchen smelt fresh and citrusy afterwards, not chemical. Hard water industries spent millions trying to replace this method. Number 16. Talcum powder for oil stains on fabric. When your dad came home with engine oil on his trousers or someone dropped a chip on a clean shirt, your nan reached for the Johnson's baby powder on the dressing table. She sprinkled a thick layer directly over the wet stain and pressed it in gently with her fingers. The talc absorbed the oil out of the fabric weave like a sponge, turning grey as it worked. After 4 hours, she would brush it off and repeat with fresh powder until no more grease transferred. The garment then went into a normal wash with no shadow remaining. A tin of talc cost 9p and lasted years. Modern stain removers contain enzymes that can set oil stains permanently if used the wrong way. Talcum powder, applied within 1 hour of the spill, removed grease that no washing powder could touch. Number 15. A bar of soap for stuck zips and drawers. When the zip on a winter coat got stuck, or the dresser drawer refused to slide, your nan reached for the wedge of carbolic soap by the sink. She would rub the dry bar firmly along the zip teeth or along the drawer runners, leaving a thin film of soap behind. The next pull glided like silk. The soap acted as a dry lubricant, without any of the staining that oil or WD-40 caused on fabric. For sash windows that stuck in winter damp, she rubbed soap into the runners. For squeaky door hinges, she did the same. A bar of Lifebuoy cost 2p, and it lived a second life as a household engineer's friend after it got too small for proper washing. Modern silicone sprays cost £6 a can, and they contain propellants that can damage wood finishes. Soap left no residue and required no special storage. Number 14. Old stockings as dusters. When your nan's nylon stockings finally laddered beyond repair, they did not go in the bin. They went straight into the cleaning drawer. She would wrap a stocking around a yardstick or broom handle and use it to reach behind radiators, on top of picture rails, and under the wardrobe where no proper duster could go. The static charge in nylon attracted dust like a magnet, lifting it cleanly off skirting boards and architrave without spreading it around. For the inside of vases, she pushed a balled-up stocking through with a chopstick to polish the glass. The royal household reportedly still uses this method for chandeliers, where soft, lint-free, slightly static fabric is essential. A pair of ladders cost the price of a new pair, but their second life as dusters could last 5 years. Modern microfiber cloths cost £3 each and do exactly the same job. Polishing the silver before Christmas was a ritual in every house with a single decent serving spoon. Your nan did not buy silvo. She squeezed a blob of plain white toothpaste, never gel and never with whitening agents, onto a soft cloth and worked it gently over the tarnished surface. The mild abrasives in the toothpaste, originally designed to polish tooth enamel without scratching it, did exactly the same job on sterling silver. The black tarnish lifted away in second, leaving a bright, even shine. She would rinse in warm water and buff dry with a tea towel. A tube of Colgate cost 9p and polished the whole canteen of cutlery with toothpaste to spare. Real silver cost 2 shillings and stained your fingers black for 3 days. The toothpaste method, used by jewelers privately, was kinder to the metal and never scratched engraved patterns. Once a year, usually in spring, your nan brought out a small bottle of boiled linseed oil and treated every piece of wooden furniture in the house. She poured a small amount onto a soft cotton rag, then rubbed it firmly into the grain of the dining table, the dresser, the wooden draining board, and the bread bin. The oil soaked deep into the timber, replenishing natural oils that decades of polish and central heating had stripped away. After 20 minutes, she buffed off any excess with a clean cloth, leaving the wood with a warm satin glow that lasted 12 months. A small tin from the ironmonger cost 1 shilling and treated every wooden item in the house. Modern furniture polishes contain silicone, which creates a temporary shine but actually dries the wood underneath. Linseed oil did the opposite. It fed the wood from within. Second pattern, break. Now here is where modern cleaning companies start panicking. Number 11. Vinegar steam for the microwave. When your nan finally got a microwave in the 1980s, after years of saying she did not need one, she developed the simplest cleaning method ever devised. A glass bowl filled halfway with water, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, and a slice of lemon. She put it inside, set the microwave on full power for 5 minutes, and walked away. The steam, charged with vinegar and citrus oil, condensed on every interior surface, softening every speck of dried on food and loosening dried tomato sauce. When the timer pinged, she opened the door, let it stand for 2 minutes, then wiped the inside clean with a single damp cloth. No scrubbing, no chemicals, no smell. Here is what appliance manufacturers do not advertise. The official cleaning sprays sold for microwaves contain ingredients you really do not want vaporizing into your food. The vinegar method is recommended by Which magazine and by many appliance engineers in private. Cost? Less than a penny. Number 10. Half a potato for rust on tools. When the garden shears or the kitchen knives developed spots of rust from being put away damp, your nan reached for the potato bin. She cut a raw potato in half, dipped the cut surface in a little salt or bicarbonate of soda, and scrubbed it directly over the rust patches. The oxalic acid in the potato dissolved iron oxide, while the salt provided gentle abrasion. After 30 seconds of vigorous rubbing, the rust came off completely, leaving bright steel underneath. She would rinse the tool, dry it thoroughly, and rub a smear of cooking oil over it to prevent fresh rust. A single potato could clean a whole set of garden tools. Modern rust removers contain phosphoric acid and cost £8 a bottle. They work no faster than the potato method. The potato method used food destined for the compost and required nothing more than a cut and a scrub. Number 9. Tea leaves for carpets before sweeping. Before the vacuum cleaner became standard in every home, your nan swept her front room carpet with a stiff brush. The trick that made it work was damp tea leaves. She saved the wet leaves from the pot, sprinkled them lightly across the carpet, and left them for 10 minutes before sweeping. The damp leaves bound to loose dust and grit, weighing it down so the brush could collect it instead of just stirring it into the air. The carpet smelled faintly of tea afterward, a clean, slightly tannic scent that lingered pleasantly. Mahogany and Persian rugs got the same treatment, with the added benefit that tannins darkened and refreshed the natural dyes in the wool. A few spoonfuls of used leaves, left over from the morning brew, did the whole sitting room. Modern carpet powders are essentially perfumed talc that gets ground into the pile. The tea leaf method was actually cleaner. Number 8. White vinegar in the washing machine. When the washing machine started smelling musty or the whites came out graying, your nan ran an empty cycle on the hottest setting with 2 pints of white vinegar poured directly into the drum. The vinegar dissolved soap scum, lime scale, and bacterial film from every internal surface, including the pump, the seal, and the drum itself. The machine came out smelling fresh and ran more efficiently for months afterwards. For ongoing maintenance, she added half a cup of white vinegar to every wash, where it acted as a natural fabric softener, brightened whites and prevented detergent buildup in the fibers. Towels came out softer and more absorbent than fabric softener ever achieved. A bottle of malt vinegar cost 9 pence in 1962 and lasted months. Modern machine cleaners like Calgon cost £6 a box. The vinegar method works identically and is recommended by every washing machine repairer. Number 7. Cardinal red for the doorstep. Every Saturday morning, the front doorsteps of terraced streets across Britain turned bright red. Your nan, on her hands and knees with a small tin of cardinal red polish and a buffing cloth, was performing one of the most distinctive rituals of working-class pride. The waxy red paste was rubbed into the stone or concrete step, then polished to a deep, glossy shine. It sealed the porous stone against weather, dirt, and rain, while also signaling to the whole street that this household kept its standards. A tin cost about 9 pence and did the step for 3 months. The competition between neighbors was fierce. A streaky doorstep brought shame. Cardinal red was actually a sophisticated wax-based sealant decades ahead of its time, protecting masonry far better than the silicone sprays sold today. The tradition vanished when terraced streets were demolished, but the polish itself worked beautifully on stone. When the bathroom mirror clouded with hairspray, toothpaste splatter, and steam residue that no glass cleaner could shift, your nan brought out the small bottle of methylated spirits from the medicine cabinet. A few drops on a soft cotton cloth, wiped firmly across the glass in straight lines, dissolved every layer of grime instantly. The alcohol evaporated within seconds, leaving the mirror perfectly clear, with no streaks, no smears, no lingering smell. She did the windows the same way in winter, when condensation had built up into a permanent haze. A small bottle cost 6 pence at the chemist and lasted a year. Professional window cleaners still use a diluted alcohol solution privately for the final polish on display glass and beveled antique mirrors. Modern glass cleaners contain ammonia that leaves residue, attracting more dust within days. Methylated spirits evaporated completely, leaving the surface chemically clean. Third pattern break. This next one is dying out, and that is genuinely sad. Number 5. Donkey stone for the front step. Before Cardinal Red took over, the working women of Lancashire and Yorkshire used donkey stones, blocks of pressed pumice and cement-coloured cream, white or yellow. Sold by the rag and bone man in exchange for old clothes, these stones were rubbed dry across cleaned, wet stone doorsteps, leaving a pale-coloured film that hardened into a protective coating. Every front step on every terraced street wore the same uniform stripe of cream across the threshold. The film hid dirt, sealed the stone, and announced to anyone walking past that this house was kept properly. The last donkey stone factory in Britain, Eli Whalley of Ashton-under-Lyne, closed in 1979. With it went a domestic tradition that stretched back over a century. Mining towns and mill villages had this stripe running unbroken along entire streets. Today, only 1 or 2 collectors keep the practice alive. The stones occasionally turn up at antiques fairs for £20 each, once they were free. Number 4. Ketchup for tarnished brass. When the brass door knocker, the candlesticks on the mantelpiece, or the horse brasses hanging in the hall went dull and tarnished, your nan reached for the bottle of Heinz tomato ketchup. She squeezed a generous blob onto a soft cloth, rubbed it firmly over the tarnished brass, and left it to sit for 10 minutes. The acetic acid and tomato acid in the ketchup chemically dissolved copper oxide and tarnish without damaging the underlying metal. A quick rinse and a buff with a dry cloth revealed brass that gleamed like new. The whole set of candlesticks got done before the Sunday lunch went in the oven. A bottle of Heinz cost about 1 shilling and 6 pence. Brasso, the proprietary brass polish, cost the same and required ventilation, gloves, and a tolerance for ammonia fumes. Ketchup did the job in less time, smelled like a chip butty, and was already in the cupboard. Try it on a forgotten brass ornament this weekend. It actually works. Number 3. Vim Scouring Powder. That green and yellow drum of Vim sat on the kitchen windowsill of every British home from 1904 to 1985. It was a gritty white powder that could clean almost anything. Your nan sprinkled it onto a damp cloth or directly onto the surface, then scrubbed. It cleaned the bath, the sink, the cooker top, the loo, the tiles, and even the doorstep. The fine abrasive cleaned without scratching enamel, while the mild soap content cut through grease. One drum cost about 5p in 1958 and lasted 6 weeks. Here is what makes Vim properly remarkable. Modern cleaning has fragmented into separate sprays for the bathroom, the kitchen, glass, surfaces, the toilet, and the floor. Each costs £3 and takes up space under the sink. Vim did every job for the price of a Mars bar. The formula still exists, marketed quietly as a niche product, but supermarkets prefer to sell you 8 bottles when 1 tub would do. When the time came to redecorate the front room, your nan never just pasted new paper over the old. She washed every wall thoroughly first with sugar soap, a yellowish powder dissolved in warm water that cut through years of nicotine, coal smoke, and grease. The new wallpaper then adhered properly, lasted twice as long, and showed no shadows from the old surface beneath. Sugar soap also stripped flaking paint from skirting boards and prepared woodwork for fresh gloss. A tin cost about 9p and did an entire 3-bed semi from top to bottom. Professional decorators still use it today as the only proper preparation for repainting nicotine-stained walls. Modern all-purpose cleaners simply do not cut through ingrained smoke and tar the way sugar soap does. Your nan, with her tin of yellow powder and a bucket of warm water, achieved a deeper clean than any spray bottle has managed since. And finally, in first place, the Holy Trinity. Soda crystals, white vinegar, and a kettle of boiling water. This was the universal solvent in every nan's kitchen. The most powerful combination of cheap household chemistry ever assembled. A handful of soda crystals dropped into the drain, followed by a generous slosh of white vinegar, produced an instantaneous fizzing chemical reaction. Then a kettle of boiling water flushed the lot through, dissolving grease, hair, soap scum, and food debris in one go. The same trio cleaned blocked toilets, stripped tea stains from china, polished stainless steel sinks until they gleamed, desculled the inside of the kettle, refreshed tile grout, brightened laundry, deodorized the bin, and removed pet stains from carpet. Total cost was less than 10p for a fortnight's worth. Modern equivalents involve 17 different bottles costing nearly £40. The chemistry is identical. The sodium carbonate raises the pH, the acetic acid lowers it, and the resulting reaction generates carbon dioxide and saponifies fats into water-soluble compounds. Your nan, who left school at 14 and never read a chemistry textbook in her life, was running a working laboratory in her kitchen for 2p a week. She did not need a degree. She had the wisdom of 3 generations of women before her, every one of whom had figured out exactly which household ingredients, mixed in the right proportions, would clean anything in any home. That is the genius we threw away when we started believing the adverts. Your nan knew what we forgot. The cleaning industry made billions persuading us we needed 17 sprays under the sink, when really we needed 3 things: a packet of bicarbonate of soda, a bottle of white vinegar, and a bag of soda crystals. Try one of these this week. Just one. Tell me in the comments which trick you are trying first, and whether your nan used a different method I missed. Because these were not just cleaning tricks, they were proper science, passed down through generations, that lived quietly in the kitchen cupboard until someone decided we needed to be sold something instead. Your Nan knew. Now you know too.